Okay, we're going to get started. It's pretty close to 6 o'clock. Welcome. Welcome to our annual AIAA and our Cubesat development team banquet. As all of you know, I'm Kevin Simmons, and I'm here with Sean Christensen and Mr. Randy Parsley. And unfortunately, this was the last event we had last year before COVID shut everything down. In this past year, I think it's safe to say we all just did the best that we could do. And we did it in a number of fronts. And to start off tonight, I'm going to introduce Randy. And the first comment I want to make is how proud I am, not only of the kids that will be graduating, the kids moving to high school, but just in general for the effort that I got from all of you on a number of projects. And not only did you help yourself, but you also helped other students in other states. So I'm very proud of you. It's my privilege to introduce a former mechanical engineer with Pratt Whitney and Aerojet Rocketdyne with 40 years of aerospace engineering experience, Mr. Randy Parsley. He is our current president of the Palm Beach section of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. And it's a real, I'm very pleased to call him a friend, and I'm very glad he's here. And Randy, I'd like to give you the floor and ask you to share a few words with the group.
Okay, Kevin, thank you for that gracious and I don't know, unfounded introduction there. But first of all, I want to say hello to everybody. And I'm really glad to see you guys again. Like Kevin said, it's been a year since I've seen, some of the students that I recognize on the Zoom bar. And I'm really looking forward to getting through this. And I want to congratulate everybody on their patience and determination over the last year. We're proud to have the Y School as a student chapter in our section. And I wish all the speakers good luck tonight. And I'm really interested in the agenda. So Kevin, back to you, and good luck to everybody. And we'll probably catch up at the end maybe a bit.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight, our theme is perseverance, and that is appropriate on multiple levels or in many different ways. To begin with tonight, we're going to discuss, you're going to learn, or you're going to see a short review of some of our high school students and what they did in some of our congressional and state level outreach. We want to do a shout out to the early members of our first Cubesat team that are now graduating this year. You are our first students that are heading off to universities and colleges. Very proud of you. We want to recognize and do a brief update on all of our current programs. And of course, as it's appropriate as the 8th graders move on to high school, we want to recognize the students that have just put in 3 years in support of all that we hope to do. So the first item on our agenda is a 2-minute or so video that was made by our high school students as they led our effort to call on Congress. So I'm going to share that, and I think you might recognize this guy.
Course of a week and held virtually. CVD is usually one day a year where we go up to visit and call on Capitol Hill and advocate for issues that they find very important to the aerospace and defense industry. Because of circumstances this year, it was spread out over the course of a week and held virtually.
For me, my experience, I felt prepared because last year I went to Space Day in Tallahassee, so that prepared me.
It was a really interesting experience virtually compared to actually going in person, but as far as leading the team, it was a wonderful experience. It was very fulfilling. We had our challenges in the beginning, like everybody else, but in the end, we all pulled through. We persevered, and I had a wonderful team as well.
I think it worked really well. I think it was really easy to bounce off
each other and feel like we were having a really engaging conversation. I felt like it was very natural. I think it was also, like Audie was saying, a really fulfilling experience, especially as somebody who wants to go into the aerospace industry as an adult. It's nice to know that I'm doing something for my future that's going to benefit me.
Definitely way different than actually being on the hill. We as a group had a lot of problems just reaching out and getting the meetings set. My group, however, did great. I hopefully prepared them well. They did a great job. They for their first times, and so yeah, it was definitely good.
Like, it was such a great opportunity experience, and if anybody ever gets the opportunity, I highly recommend taking it.
I mean, if you have a problem, if you want to get something out there that you really want to change, that's what you got to do.
Everyone thinks, or people say, that you can make the same difference just sending out an email or writing a letter, but actually having them see you and talk to you about something that you care about, they can see your passion and how you genuinely care for change.
Okay, so this was our you heard from our high school students and Ankith, and what some of you don't know is that I am the chair for AIAA CVD for the state of Florida, and this year, because of these circumstances, I divided up the entire state, all 29 offices, amongst 4 of our most senior high school students that have all gone to Washington, D.C. when they were middle school students, and they became the team leaders. And not only did they make all of their own meetings with the congressional offices, as you know, we have 29 offices and congressional offices in Florida, but they also made their appointments and they trained their teams. So we've gotten to a place where now we have our high school students that are so, I think, competent at passionately articulating these talking points and really supporting aerospace, that not only can they do it, but they can train others. And if you ever meet a teacher, they will tell you, you don't know something until you can teach it to someone else. That's as good as it gets. So once again, Adia, Caden, Alexa, and Owen, my sincere thanks to you on behalf of Steve Sidoric and the national office at AIAA, and especially on behalf of the Wolfpack and all of us that that work down here in Florida for aerospace. Thank you. Okay, I think it's time now.
Aerospace.
On what?
Aerospace.
I believe it's time now to recognize our seniors that are graduating. Now, I've seen a few of you online, but I'm going to call out the list and make sure I haven't missed anyone. From our very first original Cubesat team, I know we have Michael Evard Vesio and Martz Purins and Eric Sprague. And I'm not sure if Eric and Martz are here, but I know I've seen Michael. And again, you have to start somewhere, right? Never despise the day of small beginnings. And we actually only had 4 kids show up to the first meeting, 4 dudes. And I was like, who are the smartest girls in school? And go find them and recruit them. And next thing you know, we went from 4 to 9 to 30 to 35 students. So you guys did everything you were asked to do, and you did get your first satellite up. I know Eric is going to UNC Chapel Hill, and he's going to be a physicist. He wants to study the big questions about the origin of the universe. As an NC State alum, I just wish I could have gotten him to go 25 miles in another direction to my school, but he is going to be an outstanding physicist. I believe, Michael, you're here today. Would you please share just briefly what your plans are here when you not only graduate from high school, but I believe you've got another important graduation coming up soon.
Yep, I'll be attending the University of Pennsylvania Law School after I graduate in the summer.
That's outstanding. So, Michael, you've been able to squeeze high school and your undergrad in 4 years. Is that correct?
Yup, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it though if I didn't have you as such a great influence as a teacher.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, but I will tell you this, and Miss Ivy is here, so she's well aware. This is the young man that 4 years ago, I believe it was 4 years ago, got that C-SPAN clip speaking at one of our first Humans to Mars. So isn't it a small world?
It's a small world, and I remember standing backstage. I was going to have to go on after you, Michael, and I really wanted to like slink away and let you have the floor. So best of luck in all that you do. And as you study law, remember that faith law, there are going to have to be some great people who come up with ways that we protect and advocate and create peaceful things in space. So put that in your back pocket as well as you study, but a pleasure to see you again.
And if my memory doesn't fail me, I think Senator Ted Cruz spoke. He might have, and I think, Mike, you got a much bigger round of applause than he did. So
without a doubt, much more
throwing that out.
we were.
So thank you. If Eric or Martz are here, I'd love to acknowledge you as well, but I know they're going to do really well. All right, next up on the list, it's time for us to do a review of the year. Remember, our theme is perseverance. We have a number of speakers. I will introduce the first, and I believe they'll introduce the one that follows them. I will do, it's my honor to introduce one of our hotshot sixth graders. She's intelligent, she's articulate, she's pushy, and she's an outstanding student, and I'm glad to introduce.
You're introducing the wrong person. The introduction tonight will be done by one of our outstanding fifth graders, Gabriel Makati. So we'll let him take the floor.
I'm sorry, Finley, I was this close. All right, Gabe Makati, Space Club member, would you please introduce our speakers?
So, hello, I am Gabriel Makati, and I'm a fifth grade member of Space Club, the newest addition to the Aerospace and Innovation Academy, which launched in January of 2021. We are a unique group of students ranging from third grade to high school from 4 different states, learning the basis of aerospace with the main goal of joining the Wolfpack Cubesat development team. This year has been an interesting year since the last time we gathered to celebrate the success of our AIAA student teams. Since then, our world has seen many changes due to the pandemic. Many businesses and stores have shut down. There were and still are mandates that make it difficult to gather. In fact, that's why we're not here in person tonight. But it wasn't just Florida or the United States that was in this situation. It was the whole world. But when faced with challenges, we have learned that it's best to persevere, our theme of tonight's presentation. Despite challenges and difficulties, NASA landed Perseverance on Mars, a symbolic inspiration to the world. And our teams persevered too. We learned to work together even if we work differently. Tonight, we will share some of our ways our teams persevered by continuing our hard work in carrying out missions to bring CubeSats as a disruptive educational tool to a larger community. And now to share about how we've persevered with outreach is Finley.
Thank you, Gabe. So yes, my name is Finley Strauss. I'm a 6th grade member of the Wolfpack Cubesat development team, and I'm interested in debate, policy, and aerospace. As Gabe has shown and through those videos, just because life throws you a curveball does not mean you should ever quit the game. So as you may know, the Wolfpack started pre-COVID, and we were very excited to work with students from other schools, both older and younger, to help inspire and foster a love of STEM. Although COVID certainly did change things for all of us, we did not stop meeting. Over the summer, I've had the privilege to lead, meet, attend, and create projects with others each week. These new projects included educating others, which is a very important part of our outreach programs. We not only participate in outreach team events, we have also created our own products to distribute to others. Currently, we've created a coloring book and activity book. These books tell what we have done along with important STEAM information. By holding and attending these events each year, we've been able to obviously create and share products, though the most important part of this is we have been able to teach others about STEAM continuously. Despite COVID-19, we have certainly persevered and still been able to educate others. We have also been able to expand our team. So far, we've partnered with Nebraska and North Carolina to work on our Cubesats and outreach projects. To tell us more about these collaborative Cubesat proposals, as well as how we have continued to work internationally on technical papers and conferences, is Paul.
Thank you, Finley. Hello, my name is Paul Kiesling, and I'm an 8th grade member of the Wolfpack Cubesat development team in Aerospace and Innovation Academy. I've been a part of this program for 3 years, and during this time, I've been able to participate in many unique opportunities. However, one of my favorite things that we do in this program is attending and presenting at prestigious industry conferences, such as the International Astronautical Congress in Washington, D.C., SmallSat Conference in Logan, Utah, or the Michigan Space Forum, to name a few. Attending and presenting at these conferences offers unique learning experiences because it helps us learn about the aerospace industry and develop real-life public speaking skills. Although this has been a challenging year for our program with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been able to persevere and have taken advantage of the online platform in order to attend and present at even more conferences than before. For example, this academic year, our team has presented virtually at the 71st International Astronautical Congress, which was originally supposed to be in Dubai, as well as numerous symposiums and conferences organized by the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. We have also been invited to present at the 43rd COSPAR Scientific Assembly in Sydney, Australia, and at the Global Space Exploration Conference in St. Petersburg, Russia. In order to be selected to present at these conferences, we first have to submit an abstract for a specific topic that we'd like to present, and if selected, we would have to write a technical paper and prepare a presentation. Through this process, we are also able to further develop invaluable life skills, such as research and writing. Another way through which we learn research and writing skills is by developing and writing proposals to NASA's CubeSat launch initiative. By participating in this NASA educational program, our team is able to develop CubeSat payload ideas and write detailed proposals in order to pitch our CubeSats to NASA. For example, this academic year, I was able to lead one of our 3 Wolfpack teams, which submitted a CubeSat proposal to NASA. These endeavors require commitment and dedication as we divide and conquer different subsections of the proposal, such as mission idea, payload structure, subsystems, budget, and other technical requirements. In the end, we all learn teamwork and project management skills, which are invaluable to our future success in this program and in life. And now I'll let my colleague Samer give you an update on his CubeSat proposal, CapSat-1, which has already been accepted by NASA and is currently in the process of being built for launch later this year.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, I'm Samer Al-Hoshi, and I'm a current 9th grader at the American Heritage School, Boca del Rey. As part of the Wolfpack Cubesat development team, I've had the privilege of learning from those who came before me to develop the WISAT-1 mission, the first small satellite to be launched by a middle or high school program in the country. And in 2019, I found myself as the lead on my own CubeSat proposal. Leading the CapSat-1 mission has been an incredible opportunity for me, not only academically, but in teaching me leadership and critical problem solving. The CapSat-1 satellite is a 1U CubeSat mission, and its primary mission is to promote education in adolescence and to provide opportunities for middle school students to engage in hands-on experiential learning and develop their skill sets for the future aerospace and engineering workforces. With all plans, though, come setbacks, hardships, and the goal of persevering through adversity. Not only did I have to persevere through my first year of high school as an added load amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, in the case of the CapSat-1 mission, the pandemic became a setback on component testing. As the CapSat-1 secondary mission is a technological demonstration to validate a novel capacitor-based electrical power system in a 1U CubeSat, component testing, specifically on the mission payload, is vital to its success and would have brought the expected launch date much sooner than what it is currently. However, from the beginning of the pandemic until now, both I and a group of partners in the CapSat-1 mission have been regularly meeting to discuss the reviews and tests needed for the CapSat-1 to succeed. With the progress that we've made, we plan to test the CapSat-1 components over the summer and fall, and plan to have the CapSat-1 launch at the Kennedy Space Center this December. While I persevered and carried on the footsteps of the WCDT members that came before me, the future of our CubeSat team is definitely in good hands. And here's Michael Makati to tell you our plans.
All right, thank you, Samer. So I'm Michael Makati, a 7th grader, and I've been part of the WCDT for 2 years. Now, in the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to attend numerous space events, work hands-on with Cubesat technology, and compete in multiple space and science competitions. This unique exposure to STEM has really improved my communication and work ethic skills. But moreover, it's an experience that many students don't have access to. And this is a problem that the WCDT has come to recognize, which is why in recent years, we've been reaching out to other schools to work on different projects. In fact, last year, we collaborated with schools from North Carolina and Nebraska on Cubesat proposals to be submitted to NASA CSLI. And if you aren't quite aware what NASA CSLI is, it's a program that provides cost-effective methods for nonprofit organizations to launch missions into space. Collectively, we submitted 6 proposals to the CSLI between us 3 states. But due to COVID-19, we were not able to physically meet with our teammates from North Carolina and Nebraska, which made it more difficult for us to get our ideas across. Yet, regardless of the status quo, we persevered and found ways to communicate and collaborate. More recently, we've been in contact with a school in Hawaii and another in North Carolina to work on a project together. These projects can consist of Cubesat proposals, high-altitude balloon missions, and space settlements. And it's very important to recognize that it's projects like these that give students an understanding of the STEM field, but moreover, it builds commitment, responsibility, and perseverance. Here's Theo to close up our presentation.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening. I'm Theodore Oregon. I'm currently a member of the Wolverine. I've currently been a member of the Wolverine Cubesat development team for 5 years now, and I'm currently a freshman at Suncoast Community High School. Throughout these years, I've seen a lot. I've worked on our emulators, high-altitude balloons, presented at conferences all over the country, lobbied our federal and state legislators, written my own Cubesat proposal, and integrated the YSAT-1. However, what's amazing the most about the team this year is the perseverance that we've shown. We've learned to persevere in many ways, including outreach, continuing our proposals, presenting at conferences, and so much more. We hope you continue to be inspired as we have by the commitment of these dedicated students. Now we have Mr. Simmons to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you, Theo, and thank you, students, for really presenting very well what we've tried to do in this past year. Thank you. Okay, now it's time for our keynote. So it is my pleasure to introduce Miss Janet Ivey. I would like to tell you just a few of the things that I know about her personally. Number one, she has worked for decades in the realm of education and entertainment. She is a charming lady that is able to connect with young people at many different ages in a remarkable way. Professionally, I believe she's won Emmys for her children's television. And additionally, I know her as being important in the leadership of both the National Space Society, and she is the current president of Explore Mars. And it's my privilege. I've known her for at least a decade. I'm so glad she was able to join us. And it is my pleasure tonight to introduce to you our keynote, Miss Janet Ivey.
Well, the privilege and the pleasure is all mine, I have to tell you, because truly, guys, I have been impressed with you since the moment that I heard you all speak and present and attend, and it was probably a Human to Mars Summit. I met your teacher, Mr. Kevin Simmons, in the hallway as we were registering for National Space Society in 2011. So it has been exactly 10 years, or it would be this May, since the first time I found out he was an Einstein Fellow and a fellow space educator. So I met Miss Shauna Christensen about 4 or 5 years ago. And again, you guys are in incredible hands. And every time I hear of your great capacity to push, mentor, and exceed expectations of your ages, I just have full confidence in the world that you are creating. Before I share my screen tonight, I just sort of want to go here and say, I want to remind you that I believe that your generation is going to be the absolute most flexible, most amazing, best brains that pretty much civilization has ever seen, because you guys have lived through an incredibly incredibly weird time. And you're going to dare to make bold and outrageous predictions. You're going to keep asking, you're going to keep wondering, you're going to keep dreaming. And remember this, if you ask enough questions, if you seek to see out of the box, over the top, crazy ideas, that kind of persistent ideation, no matter how absurd, is going to lead you to outcomes that never could have been achieved unless one kept relentlessly creating the future. Remember that Albert Einstein said, if an idea is not absurd enough, then there is no hope for it. God, I love that. I love that saying, right? And computer scientist Alan Kay said, you can predict the future by creating it. And I truly believe that that's what's in store. You're going to have your Apollo moment. You're going to see that first woman and the next human return to the moon. You're going to see humans walk on the surface of Mars. And you guys are going to be the generation that completes and continues to innovate everything that all of us who love space and have attempted to encourage you guys to be the leaders that are going to take over this new endeavor. And tonight I want to talk to you about perseverance. Wow, what a mission that has been, and what a word. It's interesting to me that it was a rising 8th grader, Alex Mather, who actually won the essay contest for NASA and the word perseverance. I can't help but think he had a prescient moment of knowing, wow, this would be the perfect word for 2020, right? Because as lockdown happened almost 13 months ago, and the world looked weird, and we thought, well, this can only last for a couple of weeks, right? And yeah, that's what we were thinking, or that's what I thought. I thought, okay, we'll get through this by May. I mean, I can even remember when it first happened, we were still planning, like, are we going to meet in person for the Human to Mars Summit? So what an amazing time you have lived through. And I think we can all agree upon that you guys have been absolutely, absolutely indefatigable in your pursuits to remain on task and to continue moving forward. Gene Roddenberry said, of course, he was the creator of Star Trek, we are on a journey to keep an appointment with whatever we are. So when we think about the Perseverance rover that, again, gave us incredible hope, I love what one of you speakers had to say, that it was the perfect application of not only a word, but a mission and a sort of uniting event that we could go, okay, if we can still launch a rocket with a rover on its way to Mars during a pandemic, then all is right with the world. I think I would be remiss if I didn't play the video with Alex Mather's words of his essay tonight. Just a great reminder of us all about what perseverance really means.
Curiosity, insight, spirit, opportunity. If you think about it, all of these names of past Mars rovers are qualities we possess as humans. We are always curious and seek opportunity. We have the spirit and insight to explore the moon, Mars, and beyond. But if rovers are to be the qualities of us as a race, we miss the most important thing: perseverance. We as humans evolved as creatures who could learn to adapt to any situation, no matter how hard. We are a species of explorers, and we will meet many setbacks on the way to Mars. However, we can persevere. We, not as a nation, but as humans, will not give up. The human race will always persevere into the future.
So again, you can't help but every time I watch that, I go, oh, thank you. Thank you, good young man. Just like you good young men and women are here tonight. It is my pleasure to congratulate you. And when we think about launch trajectories, again, it requires incredible math, incredible physics, and to think that to get to Mars, NASA is still using the math of Katherine Johnson. So let's always remember that we are standing on the shoulders of giants, always continuing to build that scaffolding that gets us to where we want to go. And remember this too, that wherever you are this evening, as you are about to graduate or you're going to the next level of the Wolfpack, remember this. Launch trajectories are not that different from a quarterback, let's call him Tom Brady, and that first line of scrimmage. Tom Brady doesn't aim the football for where that wide receiver is when the ball snaps. He aims that ball for where the wide receiver will be down the line toward the goalpost. And the same happens when we launch a rover to Mars. We don't aim for where Mars is at the time of launch. We aim for it where it will be when we land. One of the most profound things, and pardon me, springtime cold in Tennessee. I want to remind you one of the most amazing things that I read after the very successful landing on February 18th is that Perseverance landed in Jezero crater within 3 meters of its target. 3 meters of its target. Think that is such precise mathematics and such precision that, again, you have to cheer along with those engineers when you see them celebrating that landing. And that's what I wish for all of you. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come fast. It comes with persistent steps day after day. But again, remember, as you are launching your life, launching the trajectory of where you want to go, aim for where you want to be down the road, not just for where you are now. And there's a myriad of instruments on Perseverance 23, I believe. Moxie is going to have its moment here very soon, and we will be able to see. We know that it works here in 1G. Does it work in 38% of, on Mars gravity and everything? We think it's going to. I had the brilliant opportunity to interview Michael Hecht, who's one of the principal investigators of Moxie, the Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. How we love acronyms at NASA. And it's like when it can transform that 94% carbon dioxide that's part of that Martian atmosphere into oxygen, all of a sudden we've got liquid propulsion and we've got life support, a game changer. And again, there's a myriad of game-changing instruments on here, everything from how they're going to cache the samples for an eventual sample return. By 2031, they're hoping to have those samples back from the 2026. When the 2026 rover launches, it's going to be able to pick those up along with the cooperation and collaboration with the European Space Agency. It's going to launch those back. Think about where you're going to be in 2031. You might very well be the same scientists that are standing in the room that are going to examine those samples from Mars. Because here's what's going to be interesting. If we find out that life attempted to begin on the red planet, and maybe it survived for a time, then we begin to rewrite kind of how we think about things. If life is ubiquitous throughout the universe, which there seems to be evidence that it's like life seeks life, then again, we begin to understand more about ourselves and this precious blue ball that we call home. Again, remember that we are called to be very good crewmates of Spaceship Earth. And again, here in the last few days, of course, we have gotten a chance to see some amazing engineering that has taken incredible perseverance to get to Monday's fantastic celebration of ingenuity. And remember that Mars's goals, Mars 2020 goals, are all about, again, they're in Jezero crater, this ancient river delta. They are looking for signs of microbial life, fossilized microbial life. Is anything still there? Is anything still alive there? And that's what we're wanting to find out. Of course, there's sample caching. And what's all this for? Because we are beginning to make those steps. There are those in my sphere that believe that we are finally within a 30-year window of seeing humans actually step foot on the red planet and explore and do experiments. And I think whether that's 2033 or 2045, again, you all are those people who are going to either be designing those missions, designing the spacecraft, designing the, computers and the communications, or the ones actually being the astronauts who go. Now, when I watch this video right here, and I take a look at this amazing parachute deploy with the heat shield falling away, the camera from the sky crane and the camera from the rover shooting in both directions so that we know exactly what's happening. We see that whole thing lower. And as these engineers cheer for that rover, I want you to get a sense that in that celebration, it is the same thing of how we are all cheering for you this evening, that in that jubilation of success in a most audacious, incredible endeavor, again, hurdling this amazing kind of SUV down with a parachute, and to have engineers be crafty enough to do something like, oh, we're thinking about how we're going to land this and deploy a parachute and slow it down as it hurtles through the Martian atmosphere. How about, pardon me, pardon me. How about we put a message in there for generations to come? Dare mighty things. So never ever let your creativity be dampened by the science that you're going to do. Because even though it's ASCII 2, it's 7-bit binary code that they decided to use. This is what is amazing, that even amidst grand engineering, they're still thinking like artists and amazing, amazing people. They also added DNA is in, they did the DNA helix because exploration is in our DNA. They added the funny kind of like family of rovers. And again, that only happens if you have a really well-formed sense of humor and a good bit of creativity. So for my artists out there, for those who like, oh, wow, I love my art, I love my music, I love all of that, let your art meet your science and your science meet your art. And after many days, 11 to be exact, the original date was April 8th. And it wasn't until this past Monday on April 19th that they were able to finally let ingenuity fly. And we saw that it worked. I mean, that's the amazing thing, right? We saw that it worked. And it's like when you saw Mimi Ong tear up her contingency speech on Monday morning, and you saw them, I mean, again, painstakingly persistent steps. I don't know if you've ever had to update the software on your phone or your computer, and then you get the little rainbow of love, right? That's spinning like the little umbrella there. Imagine that all of a sudden, and it wasn't even the main part of the signal, it was the backup plan that they were needing to do to figure out something. But it was a software update. They have to figure out the soft update here on Earth, figure out how they've got to send that to Perseverance. Perseverance then has to send the update to Ingenuity. Then Perseverance gets the signal that the engineers at JPL are saying, hey, reboot on Ingenuity. So again, guys, I was able to, I got an email back from Josh Ravitch, who's the lead mechanical engineer for Ingenuity. I had the privilege of interviewing him not too long ago for Explore Mars. And he said, thank you. I sent him a congratulation message after watching the amazing experience on Monday to see Ingenuity go up those 10 meters and back down. So we've witnessed the Wright brothers moment. They've named that area Wright brothers Field. And so again, I complimented him on, it's like, I can't imagine those last 11 days. He goes, yeah, our team didn't get much sleep. He goes, but we worked as a team. We collaborated. And he goes, and we had success. We can't wait for the future flights. So I think I just want to end here tonight and say, remember to persevere. Remember that painstakingly persistent steps is what is like the kind of tenacity that equals that ingenuity. It doesn't, maybe some of you are very already gifted at science and math, and it comes pretty naturally. For others, maybe you have to work at it a bit harder. Wherever you fall in that, anything worth doing is worth doing well and pursuing with every bit of strength and heart and passion that you have. And the way that we honor that giant leap of Apollo is by taking an even bolder step in your life, whether that's law or art or music or astrophysics or whatever endeavor it is. The only thing that I can truly tell you, and I want to end here, is simply this, is that I know for certain that the world is in great hands. If you listen too closely to the news, you'll get disappointed. But imagine in your lifetime, it's like your kids are going to not ride the bus to school, but they'll be hopping in a flying car to make their way to play dates and playgrounds. I mean, you guys are going to be the ones to innovate these great schools, affordable housing, easy access to culture and entertainment on the moon and on Mars. I mean, can you imagine you have your space tourism business? Come to the moon. The best view of Earth is here. You're also going to create space infrastructures that are going to propel long-term human exploration. You're going to create communities because you see, I believe we're in the most sweeping transformation of humanity. And I believe you guys are going to help usher in this era where the industry of aerospace is also going to be hopefully this entity that can usher in peace. There's not an astronaut that has been interviewed that hasn't talked of the overview effect, that once you have a view of the vista of up there looking down at this blue ball, all of a sudden the borders are erased. There's no difference. There's no Florida. There's no Tennessee. It's one world, one humanity. And I want you to go forth and create the future and do so with everybody in mind, with its ideal of mutual respect and tolerance and this kind of collective action in the name of global good. That's what I think space exploration is all about. So, and in order for this future to occur, somebody has to think it, say it, or dream it into being. A shift of mind is coming. to help facilitate the future. And you guys are that shift. You guys are that mind. So whether it's a city in space or a community on the moon or Mars, this future is yours to write. You're going to sing this song into the very hearts of stars. You're going to show us how to turn the dark of night into a guiding light and how to grow a jasmine in an audacious place. Just know this, even amidst my coughing and thank you for your patience during that, I have no worries about the future. I've met you. I know some of you. I know students of my own. And here's the deal. You guys are going to not only predict the future, but you're going to create it. And you're going to build it, draw it, invent it, and innovate it. And I am so delighted that you guys are in charge. Thank you so much for having me tonight. With all the little power that I have, I confer to you your future. Write it and design it as you so desire. And I wish all of you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Okay. What I will say about Miss Ivey is the same thing I would tell you guys. If you can please find people in your lives that will help you dream bigger dreams and help you go out and do these audacious things, that's the people you want to partner with. So Miss Ivey, I hope that you and I hope we can work together for at least 20 more years. Okay. I only need 20 more
30.
years.
Yeah, it's like when they send grandmas and grandpas to Mars, let's hop on the plane. You guys will need to do some great research on old people on Mars. So let us be the people. Here's what I will say. If you guys have LinkedIn profiles or if there's ever any way that I can help, I may not always know the answer, but it's crazy. I can't even tell you how I got here, kiddos. I know so many people. The fact that I can like literally email almost anybody in the space industry and go, hey, would you like to come talk to some kids? It's kind of profound to me. And the way that I got here is I was crazy relentless about, hey, I'll volunteer for that. Hey, do you have education outreach? I just kept showing up. I just kept showing up and meeting people. And I think they finally was like, might as well give her a job. So if I can ever be of assistance, my email is janet@janetsplanet.com. Please, I don't know if that just went to Kevin or not. I don't know if I can do to everybody, but please share that, Kevin, with everybody. It's janet@janetsplanet.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. If I can ever make an introduction to someone for you, if there's something you really want to do, there's some fantastic people in space law like Michelle Hanlon, who's the new president of the National Space Society. She's down at Ole Miss. There are brilliant people out there. Just the other day, a fantastic scientist at NASA named Jim Green, who like took time out of his schedule to answer questions that one of my students sent in, like recorded his answers. It was 9 minutes long that he sat and answered Abby's questions. So if I could leave you with anything is, I know the world is in good hands. And I know that there's an incredible amount of pressure on you to be the leaders in this world. But if you guys don't do it, who is going to? And then the other thing is bring as many people along with you as you can for the party. And then ask. There are so many, what I call I call it my good people network. And there are plenty of people in the Good People Network. The chief technologist of IBM is a good friend, Naeem Altaf. I just hooked him up with something that he wanted to do with some folks at NASA. Again, only because it was like, hey, would you guys mind? I mean, I'm crazy, like when it comes to like just asking people. Like I used to not be that way. I thought, oh, I don't want to bother anybody. Bother them. You never know. It's like there are crazy people like me that just love to say yes all the time. I'll say yes as often as I possibly can, to the point of exhaustion and a summer cold. So, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what I love to do. So if some of you's like, wow, I'd really love computing. Maybe I'd love an internship at IBM. Hit me up. I'll tell Naomi owes me one. Then I got some kids who need an internship. Because that's the kind of sassy gal I am. And that's what I want you to know who you have in Mr. Kevin Simmons and Miss Shauna Christensen, is that you have warriors. You have goddesses that are willing to do anything they possibly can. And you might be surprised to know the network of folks out there who, when they see your amazing giftedness and talent, just want to assist you in climbing to where it is you want to go. So never be afraid of asking the question.
Thank you so much, Miss Ivey. We really do appreciate you. Thank you. All right, we have just two more small items to take care of tonight as we're wrapping up. We're going to finish on time, under budget and on time, which is always a good thing. I noticed that Eric joined us, so I'm really glad, Eric, you're here. I actually said some nice things about you earlier. I'll let you buy a copy of this recording and you can hear about them later. We want to say goodbye to, or not goodbye, but we want to help our eighth graders
to go for
transition.
I'm back.
to high
Sorry.
school. We want to help our eighth graders transition to high school, and we want to send them off and wish them just the very best. But there's one student I left out who's graduating high school this year. And while Caden did not join the team when he was in middle school, he has made up for it in the last few years of high school. Caden has led our efforts to do some fundamental research on dust mitigation, because our next goal, in addition to continuing to build satellites, is to build a CubeSat-based lunar rover. So Caden really, he put his hand to the plow and he started just tinkering and experimenting. But all of that hard work paid off, because he won, I think it was 5 different recognitions and awards at the state science fair, including $15,000 towards his tuition for the aerospace engineering at the University of Central Florida. So Caden, I wanted to thank you. Not only have you made posters for SmallSat and led a lot, you've done a lot of video editing and a lot of grunt work just for the general cause. So I appreciate that as well. And now tonight for our 8th graders. I hope I have not left anyone out, but I made a list and several of you are here tonight, but in no particular order. Ankith Soretti, Anthony Zhang, Andrew Zhang, Bo Kimler, Julian Lupian, and Paul Kiesling. You guys, we've done a little bit of everything. We have, you guys were our first, along with Theo, you guys helped write the first paper really written by students for the IAC, and you got to present that in Washington, D.C. You have gone to SmallSat. You've done it all. You've been pre-COVID and now you've lived through the COVID. I'm really proud of all of you. And just like Ms. Janet said, Julian, you have a lot of artistic talents, and we have leveraged that, and you have helped us improve our brand just by your artwork. Anyway, I could go on and on about you 8th graders, but I just wanted for a moment to thank you and to wish you well as you move on to high school. And just as you see the high school kids here tonight and know the ones that have been working, you are always welcome to stay with us and be a part of the Wolfpack for as long as you'd like. And finally, I know Ms. Christensen would like to say some words as well, but we can't thank the parents enough. And I have 3 parents in mind, but I will, if it's all right, Ms. Christensen, I'll hand it over to you and let you have some closing remarks for the parents. I couldn't have done it this year. I took a week off for surgery, and there's a reason you guys are the best in the region in the science fair, and it's folks like Ms. Kiesling, Ms. Makati, and Dr. Bernhardt that have just gone out of their way to help you guys maximize these opportunities. So I wanted to thank those, and now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Christensen for some remarks.
I'm going to be very brief and just say that I've had the pleasure of working with so many of you throughout the years. And I know that sometimes we just think, how is this going to work? The idea that we have talking to do and this content to do. And that's really where I came on board, was the formation of what we call the talkies and the techies, right? And so just by having seen you all at such a young age, kind of thrusting yourself out there into the communities, being forced to speak either at conferences or like watching you all network inspired me. I hated that at first. I had to sit in the corner and go, look at everybody's talking to everybody. What is this? And you guys just were so natural at just going up to meeting people and like giving them cards. And now some of you have your own business cards. So it's like, you don't realize, I think, the heads up start that you have beyond that so many of even like your parents had. So I just want to thank you all for putting up with me as I've been revising your speeches or your proposals for, gosh, what is it, Russia now that we're working on. And yes, I drive the train a little bit with our schedule of turn it in, but it's so that ultimately we can all shine together as a team. Tonight is also an important night to recognize our Space Club attendees, and we're going to end closing tonight with a video that they did to tell you a little bit about the program. As we started, Kevin alluded to the fact that the Aerospace and Innovation Academy is now underway, and it's kind of like this umbrella where the Wolfpack and all future Cubesat development teams will be able to work. And certainly those policy efforts and the entrepreneur efforts that we've been trying to undertake as well. And we had our inaugural group, Space Club, just started in January. And, you know, the whole theme of perseverance is important because we think, you know, COVID, everything is online, but you can either kind of sit there and let it overwhelm you, or you can pivot. And we, along with you, chose to pivot. So we're really excited about the new venture. We've got some summer sessions coming up where, by being online, it allows students from around the country and even the world to join in and take part. But even as we move into fall and we start these sessions over again and we advance into some even more, know that we hope that you'll continue your journey with us as Space Club and the Aerospace and Innovation Academy continue to take off, so to speak, to launch, if you will. So without further ado, I guess we should kind of announce that Space Club attendees, you are now moving up to the Wolfpack Cubesat development team. Congratulations. This is your official invite to join the bigger group, and you too will get to do some of these experiences that you have heard some of the students share. And do you want to, anything else that you want to say, Mr. Simmons, before we actually show the final video of the Space Club and the new members of our group?
I think it's time to show their video.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I said that twice, but I was muted, so.
Math, science, history, and modern-day advancements in space. If you're interested in aerospace, astronomy, or topics like math, science, history, and modern-day advancements in space, then Space Club is for you. In Space Club, we learned about the orbital mass, the rocket equation, mechanical energy, the twin paradox, Einstein's theory of relativity, the Dirk equation, and Bernoulli's principle. We learned about the formation of Mars mountains, the length of a Martian year, and calculating the launch window to Mars. We talked about Mars rovers, including Perseverance and the Mars helicopter Ingenuity. We learned the aspects of flight, such as the forces of flight, flight controls, the Wright brothers, the many World War II aircraft, and Chuck Yeager. We began group projects covering topics like space, from space probes to the life cycle of stars. Space Club has been fun, but when it ends, many of us have the opportunity to join the Wolfpack Cubesat development team.
All right, and that, my friends, was our first video made by our former Space Club members as they now moved on to the Wolfpack.
I think it's important to note that you had students in that first group, ages, ranging from grades 3 through, was it 10th?
Third to 10th. I believe it was 3rd to 10th. And including Preston, who's in Illinois, Ryan, who's in Connecticut, Jesse, who's in Virginia, and then Andrew and other students scattered out in Florida. So I'm just so proud of you and looking forward to what you can do, what we're going to continue to do. Well, it's 7 o'clock. Look at that. We finished right on time. I want to thank all the parents.
Kevin,
Yes,
Kevin, this is Randy. Maybe we've not finished on time. I'll just take a couple more minutes.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, Janet, are you involved with AIAA Distinguished Lecturer circuit?
I am not.
That's where, you know, like our section in Palm Beach County, we have two distinguished lecturer opportunities each year, where AIAA will pay the expenses for the distinguished lecturer, you know, to come to a section meeting or a group meeting, or to, you know, some kind of social function. And first of all, I thought your presentation was fantastic.
And we know she wants to come down to Palm Beach too, Randy.
I totally wants to come down to Palm Beach, and without the kind of like, it's allergies, and I kept my grandkids all weekend. And so God bless them, they were a little germy. You know, it's a 4 and a 6
Well, I
year
just
old.
wanted to ask you that if you would like, I will take the initiative to investigate what it takes to become a distinguished lecturer.
That's so great. Yes, yes, and thank you.
Okay. Second question is way off the wall. Do you know Bob Zubrin?
I do know Bob Zubrin. He's a colorful dude. And
so let me ask you, you've been zoobed, right? That's what we used to call it like 20 years ago. I worked with him when he was at Lockheed Martin before he left to form the Mars Society. And I have been zoobed many times.
You know, it's interesting. I don't know that I've been officially zoobed. I have met him, but kind of like because of my volunteer efforts before I became president of Explore Mars, we've just gone in concentric circles. So other than having him reach out on LinkedIn and connect and read his book, I don't know him personally, but yeah, I really, it's like he's a genius, and it's like The Case for Mars is a brilliant book, but I've never had a long-term kind of connection there.
Well, if we can ever get you to South Florida, either for some, you know, section event or distinguished lecturer, I'll tell you several Zubrin stories that I have. And then I'll also tell you a story about how Elon Musk almost got me fired.
Oh,
Randy, you might not have known this, but Janet actually spoke at the TEDx that you did. She was in a different session. So you were in the second session, but Janet, for many of our students who are here tonight, they remember Janet speaking at our younger session. So we got her here once, but we need her back. We haven't seen her in a long time.
Yeah, so I missed an opportunity to give her a couple of stories with Zubrin and
I
Elon
tell you
Musk.
though, right now I am ready to travel, and that's what I hope for all of you young people, that this summer you get to do some grand adventures or go and see people you haven't seen in a long time. And you know, it's just something incredible about what you guys have had at Weiss and through Wolfpack and everything. In fact, it's like, I even have a request of your group. I have the opportunity to fly it's like about a card. It's not quite as big as this Matchbox, but it's about probably half of that, on a high altitude balloon. So we've got a chance. It's like a free, I'm not getting charged anything. It's via SpaceWorks. My kids right now are thinking seeds. But if any of the Wolfpack would like to come and meet with us and maybe brainstorm, the flight for SpaceWorks won't happen until October, but we do need by the end of May to figure out what that whole experiment could look like. The reason we keep looking at seeds, we know that microgravity does tend to affect seeds differently. We would have a control group, but maybe there's another idea. The restraints or constrictions are, it can't be anything electronic. We did think about, you know, could we do fish or something like that, or something animal, but then we were like, animal rights activists might not want us sending something up to, the edge of space and back. So that's an invitation for any of you Wolfpack people who might want to come and help us. I've got mainly my students tend to be kind of between 3rd to 7th grade. There's some great ideas and some really smart kiddos, but if you guys have experimented with that and probably know a little bit more about launching things than we do, we'd love to have you come one day in the next couple of weeks and maybe brainstorm with us. So we'd like
So
to have
Janet, you said
Yes.
SpaceWorks. Is that my buddy John Oles and John Bradford you're talking about?
Uh-huh, it sure is.
Okay.
And they basically reached out and said, hey, we've got this launch and there's this extra little payload we can put on there. What do you want to put in a deck of cards? And I was like, oh,
Super.
yeah. So yeah, they're located in Georgia.
Yeah,
So-
they're out in Atlanta, just up there around Dunwoody.
Yep, exactly.
Yep, been there a few times. Yep.
And now to make the circle really small, John Olds went to NC State, and Eric Sprague and Michael Evard and 2 of the boys that aren't here tonight, we went to Cartersville, Georgia, and flew a captive carry flight with John Olds and Generation Orbit in the December of 2015. And that's what a small world it is.
Then it's and guys and gals that are listening and you're going, when are these people going to stop talking so I can go and have dinner? This is truly how small the world is. And one of the things I do call it my good people network. When I mentioned my friend who's the chief technologist of IBM, his name is Naeem Altaf. And we've just become dear friends. I actually didn't understand when I was first on the phone, his accent was so thick. He's a Pakistani, but he lives in Austin. And he said something about small sats, and I thought he said Cubesat. So I go on this whole educational thing with him, but then he got interested in the fact is like, she's either crazy or she doesn't understand, or maybe she's got a great idea. And at some point, we may be coming to the Wolfpack to think about IBM and a Cubesat opportunity with nano racks. So again, never be afraid to just ask questions, but along the way, so recently Naeem goes, hey, IBM has this idea. Who at NASA do you know? And I'm like, oh, so apparently they had a meeting today and it all went well. The space community is relatively small. You would think that it's super huge, but inevitably, just like we just exhibited, it's like somebody knows somebody that you know, that somebody has probably intersected with you. And I find it to be the good people network. It's kind of like once they know that you're like, oh, we have people. And so, yeah, it's really kind of like this, this beautiful, I found it to be a beautiful section of people who really are interested in making sure you get to where you need to go, because we all realize that at some point we've got to have people that carry out the dreams we've been dreaming for a long time. So
yes, I want to let the students know that any adult can stay in this room and any kid is welcome to, but I opened up a couple of rooms if the students want to go and just socialize amongst yourselves, like the high school kids, or if you guys want to, you can assign yourself to a room if you want to talk for a while. If you want to drop out, we've officially ended our, the banquet. But I figure it's great to see Russ and Randy. And if I can get some of these guys to hang around, we can maybe brainstorm some stuff. By the way, Miss Ivey, what about flying some bacteria on that payload? We could do some preliminary, some sort of, I'm just throwing out an idea since we want to fly bacteria anyway.
Hey, fly back. I mean, can we put some back? I mean, again, they basically said the payload is about the size of a deck of cards. And again, I had a deck of cards the other day showing the kids about how big that was. It's not here on my desk now, but can we fly seeds and some bacteria? Because that was the other thing. You know how they did the tissue chips on that last Crew 1 Dragon mission? We were thinking about that, but yeah, can we send some bacteria and that? If we can figure out a way and you guys can help that, it's a free flight. So Wolfpack, brainstorm, and then maybe we can figure out a time next week at 4 p.m. Eastern. You guys could join us for a conversation to brainstorm.
If you'll send me the info, I will pass it along, and I'm fairly certain that out of the crew that was here tonight, you will have some of them drop in, because some are quite enthusiastic about getting their stuff to space and being a part of that. So let's see, Miss Kiesling, I can't thank you enough for, you guys, most of you know, I got a hip replacement in December, and we would not have continued to be the best school in the science fair if not for Miss Kiesling shuttling that stupid paperwork back and forth. So I can't thank you enough for that. I really appreciate that.
Well, I was trained by the best, so thank you. I'll never forget in 6th grade when you told me how important each and every item was. If anybody was to go to States, how carefully they look at that. So
I appreciate that so much. And I don't know if Miss Makati's still here, but Miss Makati is the reason that we have a checking account, and we've raised a few $1,000s towards our next satellite. And so Gabe, I see Gabe, and I know Gabe and Mike were here, but I just appreciate your mom if she's here, Miss Makati, because she's really been helpful. And it really helps to have just a few parents that are willing to help us see all this get done.
I'm still here, Mr. Simmons.
Oh,
just boring.
and I've been